welcoming Director Danya, Lakota-Lynch, and Brody Grant with us today. Who wants to take me back to what they were feeling going into opening night?
I was so scared because I had never opened.
You can use.
I had never opened a Broadway show in my life. I joined Dearman Hanson, so it was kind of already a hit when I joined it, which had its own scariness to it. But I just didn't know what the world was going to think about this thing. I had been working on the show for like 7 years of my life, so it was finally going to give birth on Broadway. And luckily, I had Danya and Brody and Emma and Angelina Jolie, who's our amazing producer, all there by my side. So it made it easier.
I mean, I feel like any artist or any actor might tell you, to be able to get to the point where you're able to, share a part of yourself and be vulnerable, you have to go through some stuff. And so I really feel like, everything I went through, like on my ACL at La Jolla, and luckily I was, lucky enough to be in the company of a great creative team and producers that believed in me and still wanted to make it work. Now I have two ACLs that are working.
So opening night I find to be a very stressful night, actually. If I'm going to be honest, the best night for me, or the night that I felt like was our opening night, was our first preview. And I like to see the show in front of an audience for the first time and to share that liveness with them. And then our producers had an after party at this like random Irish bar, which I really remember, and everybody's mom and dad were there. I remember meeting Emma's mom for the first time, and it just felt so special and intimate, and that's like the night that I remember feeling really celebratory myself, because opening is amazing, but it's also so chaotic. So when I think about opening night a year ago, I think about chaos.
Opening night was the first time I got to use the vlog.
Oh, yes.
And I remember wanting to capture everything, and like not just for the vlog, but also for like my own archival memory. I remember getting up early and getting my hair done. I'm grateful to say that this is my second opening on Broadway, and so I kind of knew the chaos that was going to commence. So I had a better understanding of like, okay, it's kind of like a prom. It's giving like the entire day is the event. It feels like, looking back, it was a week's worth of things packed into one day. And I'm very, very glad that I remember it fondly. I think that the best part, I was just talking to Danya about this, the best part about this show is that it's so well written, it's so well crafted, and I have genuinely not felt bored or stagnant or like it's the exact same every night. And so I think in that gift, that meant I could honor every single day exactly as it was, give myself any grace that I needed, and allowing that grace to be given to myself, I also was more willing to give it to people that, I came across in my day-to-day life. If, somebody was giving attitude on the train, it's like, okay, maybe they're having a tough day, and that's their ministry today, and I won't judge that, and I'll let it go. I think that this whole show has the message of, always being kind and finding the beauty in the fold, if you will.
Johnny has taught me to just, it's okay to have a sad day, or it's okay to just be not funny sometimes, and I thought I was never allowed to not be funny because everyone knew me as the funny guy, so it's Johnny taught me for sure.
I feel like growing up, I was always really ashamed of feeling sort of like an introvert. And I think something that's really beautiful about Pony Boy is that even though you're asked to kind of be a performer, in the show and share all of yourself, it's very interesting to still be playing an introvert. Yeah, it's sort of like a paradox, but it has kind of helped me accept that that's not such a bad thing. It's not always such a bad thing to be the person that doesn't talk the loudest or talk the most. Sometimes it's best to just, reflect and really, really listen. And I think Pony Boy is, a person that exemplifies that.
We have this amazing group of swings and understudies, and so they also have been, they've also also really been encouraged to bring themselves to the character. You know, Maggie, who used to cover Emma, and now Haley, and also Melody and Sarah Grace, they're all such different cherries. So for Sky and Brody, when they have someone else, they're going to play with them differently, and I think that keeps it fresh and alive and feeling like the show we all made, and still keeps it consistent and delivers the experience that people should get to have when it comes to the show.
Ponyboy experiences a lot of loss in this story, and you know, it's just very interesting how I'll be doing the Dally monologue right after Little Brother, or I'll be doing Great Expectations, or even the monologue leading into the fire at the church, and how just depending on stuff that's going on in my life, different stuff hits me very, very differently. Sometimes singing Great Expectations is fascinating because there are some times when, you know, there is something in my horizon in Brody's life that I'm just like, I really want this, and that leads me through Great Expectations. And then there's some times in my life where, and I'm sure that everyone has experienced this, where what I want reality to be doesn't exactly meet my expectation. And so sometimes Great Expectations is actually fighting my expectations, actually pushing them away, because you can't control reality. You just have to work with what is, not what you think should be. And so, I don't know, I think that's been one of my biggest things.
Vegetarian Heroes is the one song I've literally never been in. So like I'm always just like, enemy, I don't know any lyrics.
Thinking about this little part of Vegetarian Heroes when Sky brought it up, that was written in the rehearsal room so that we could have more time to pull the big sheet across the stage and to make the shadow play. And it's really catchy, and that part of that song gets stuck in my head, and it also just gives me delight to know that it happened the way it did. It makes me think about all the little moments that are created because something else needs to happen, and then they become they're on a cast album later. Summer of Hopeless War had to go, and it was very sad.
Emotional.
Yeah, and I still think about it when I watch it every night. But no, I still think about it, and I think about if we do this show again in a different country, maybe we'll reinvestigate that, because I do wonder about it. You know, Pony and Cherry used to duet more in it, and I think about that every time I watch it. So that was one that had to go, and I think it did have to go in that moment. But I think about it. But so much of this was written all in collaboration. We did these amazing workshops before Broadway, and that's something that our producer Zaraka really supported, because I didn't want to be changing a bunch of stuff on Broadway in previews, which was a great thing to not have to do. But we had these movement workshops where the composers were there. So as we were figuring out how to stage it, they could be there, tailoring it. Stay Gold, the duet, came in large part through this incredible friendship that blossomed between Sky and Brody. So much of it is created in the moment with the people who are there. And I think we were really lucky because everybody, you know, it's like a 7-headed creative team, 2 Cooperman brothers, 2 Jamestown Revivals, Justin Levine, Adam Rapp, and me, and like all there all the time.
But if you could have anyone else's track, and I will accept dresser tracks, I'll accept hair makeup tracks, anything that you could do during the run of the show, if you could just pop in for one day, what would it be?
Only boy this house ain't a home without
That one.
That one?
Just 'cause I already know it.
Emma.
I'm
You can say
thinking.
Johnny, it's okay.
I feel like I always say Daryl because I'm the oldest sibling of 3, and so it feels like there's a lot of truth for me in there.
Yeah.
But now that you said crew, I'm like, I kind of wanna stand in Sebastian's shoes. Sebastian does our pyro and the rain, and like I wanna know every single thing about that. And what does it look like every day? I know that at intermission they get to test the fire before we do the fire in Act 2, and I think that's really
Spoiler,
cool.
there's fire.
Oh yeah, sorry if you haven't seen it.
You should all know that. Sky, you're gonna say Cherry.
No, I think I'd be, I guess I'd be Bob, just because.
Amazing. All right, well, I just want to thank you all so